قناة القصة، لكل خبر قصة. إعجابك وتعليقاتك تعني لنا الكثير. شكرا على المشاهدة.
As Desiree did, want to especially recognize, and I don't use this word lightly, the legendary Ruth Davis. Thank you for honoring us with your presence today. To all of our friends throughout the State Department, across the United States government, our civil society and private sector partners, colleagues from the OSCE and UNESCO, thank you for being part of this inaugural presentation of the Secretary's Global Anti-Racism Champions Award. It's quite simply humbling and inspiring to share this stage with these remarkable individuals. They've traveled from across the globe to be with us. I want to first warmly welcome you, and then I'll have a few things to say about you in just a minute. 75 years ago, nations around the world adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, affirming that every human being is born free and equal in dignity and in rights. That meant, and it still means, people of all races and all ethnicities. Yet we all know that for far too many individuals, there continue to be challenges when their fundamental rights are violated or denied because of their race or ethnicity. Some are beaten and harassed, shut out of jobs, denied education. Some bear the brunt of crises like climate change and epidemics, yet are often excluded from decisions about the very issues that affect them the most and deprived of the support that they need to shoulder the impact. As you've heard from Desiree, President Biden has made advancing racial equity and justice for underserved communities, for LGBTQI+ people, people with disabilities, religious minorities, a core priority of this administration. It's why he signed a landmark executive order on his very first day in office, directing the entire federal government to put its full weight and resources behind this imperative, both here at home and around the world. Here at the State Department, we're carrying out an ambitious plan driven by Desiree to embed racial equity into our programs and policies, among other efforts to promote equity. That includes everything from engaging a wider range of stakeholders to ensuring that our foreign assistance programs empower marginalized groups. Our focus reflects what I think is a long overdue recognition that a more equitable foreign policy is also a more effective foreign policy. If entire communities are denied opportunity, that holds back an entire nation's economic potential. When certain groups can't access vaccines and treatment, that hinders our ability to prevent, to detect, to respond to global pandemics. When individuals don't see themselves reflected in the governments that are purported to represent them, that undermines faith in the system and in our democracies. In other words, racism, discrimination, these are not only morally wrong, they make our world less safe, less stable, less prosperous, and that goes directly to the interests of the United States. Our shared goal of advancing racial equity and combating racism, racial and ethnic discrimination, xenophobia, only possible because of the extraordinary courage and commitment of our civil society partners on the front lines. And today, as you heard from Desiree, we wanted to make this an occasion to recognize 6 of these exceptional leaders, representative in so many ways of so many people who are out there every single day with extraordinary courage, extraordinary commitment, extraordinary conviction, but also, as Desiree said, truly exceptional in their own rights. Indigenous lawyer Kari Guajajara is a force of nature on behalf of nature. Kari and her community in the Brazilian Amazon face constant threats from illegal loggers, miners, poachers. But Kari continues to advocate for conserving this vital ecosystem, which is so important to preserving cultures like hers and to addressing climate change that affects every single one of us. For a quarter century, Oswaldo Bilbao Lobaton and his Center for Ethnic Development have promoted the rights and the visibility of Afro-Peruvians. Oswaldo's work has significantly increased how many Afro-Peruvians identify themselves in Peru's census. Now, this may sound like a matter of detail. It is fundamental. Critical data comes from this that policymakers use to design more inclusive programs. If you're not counted, you don't exist. And so he has made an extraordinary difference in making sure that people are identified and actually counted. Perhaps most importantly, Oswaldo has spent a lifetime mentoring young Afro-Peruvian leaders, basically the next generation of Oswaldos. Victorina Luca, is a tireless advocate for Moldova's Roma people who have faced generations of abuse, of stigma, of harassment. After Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine last year, Victorina quickly organized the delivery of food and other supplies to more than 3,000 Ukrainian Roma refugees. And the Roma language news station that she founded, Radio Petrin Moldova, is a key source of education, of entertainment, of empowerment for Roma across Moldova and throughout the diaspora. You can imagine the powerful lifeline of information and also forging a sense of community that this radio service provides. When Sandia Mospaz became the only black Tunisian flight attendant working for Tunis Air, the CEO refused to feature her in the company's flight safety videos. Experiences like this inspired her to found NEMTI, meaning My Dream, to advance the rights of black Tunisians. Because of Sadia's dream, because of the activism of countless Tunisians, in 2018, Tunisia became the first Arab country to actually criminalize racial discrimination. As the head of Nepal's Dalit Society Development Forum, Saswati Nepali has spent more than 20 years standing up for the rights of Dalits. She's campaigned to allow Dalits to worship at popular Hindu temples, and she won. She's worked to abolish bonded labor in Western Nepal, which has trapped Dalit families for generations, and she succeeded. She's fought for Dalits overlooked by the legal system and achieved victories there too. Finally, Rani Yanyan is a tribal leader and women's rights activist in Bangladesh, where the government bans the term indigenous, and communities like hers face mass displacement, land grabs, violence. In 2018, while translating for two indigenous teenagers who had been sexually assaulted by security forces, police violently attacked her. If they hoped to discourage her advocacy, they failed. Just 2 months after the attack, Rani Yanyan participated in the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, showing her own personal, indomitable courage. She said, and I quote, "Since I have the means and the capacity to amplify the voices being left unheard, I think I need to act on it. I am simply fulfilling my responsibilities as a citizen." What an incredibly powerful message for all of us. So to each and every one of you here with us today, we're lucky to have you. The world is lucky to have you as such incredibly committed citizens, dedicating your lives to advancing the rights and the lives of others. And what I want to tell you today is that as you continue the work you're doing, this transformative work, the United States will stand very proudly by your side. Congratulations to each of you. Thank you. Thank you.